Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 67th episode of Don't Forget the Popcorn. We have reached the end of another exciting year of cinema. I won't lie, we had some bangers come out this year and a couple that may even go down as classics. We have fun this year, just like last year, so we got to talk about the best. Now, these are the 10 films I think were the best, not my favorite. That list would look a little different. Now, of course, there are a few big ones I haven't seen, and truthfully, I hate making this list without watching some of them, but we can't see everything, guys. So, I got the top 10 best of the year, and I'm going to throw in some honorable mentions at the end. So, let's get into the best movies of 2023. Number 10, Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig. Barbie was the biggest and most successful movie of the year. I mean, this thing was huge, and we have to be appreciative of films like this for helping to keep us in the theaters. I did the Barbenheimer pairing, and I must say it was one of the most fun days I've had in a while. Barbie is a gorgeous and funny film filled with sunshine and pink. We get a brilliant performance from Ryan Gosling as Ken and Margot Robbie as Barbie. But the true star here is Greta for putting this thing together. This budget was very well spent. I have a full review for this film. If you're interested, it'll be linked down below. Number 9, Across the Spiderverse, directed by a whole bunch of dudes. Another big hit of the year. Don't worry, the indies are coming. Spider-Verse was a fun and entertaining ride throughout as the follow-up to Enter the Spider-Verse. This movie is beautifully animated and filled with some crazy action. We are back with Miles on another wild ride, but this one is darker and leaves us with a crazy cliffhanger. I seriously am excited for the next one. This movie is highly likely to win Best Animated Feature, if not, probably The Boy and the Heron. I don't need to say much about this movie. Most of y'all have seen it. I have a review on this as well. I will link down below. Number 8, May December, directed by Todd Haynes. Well, what can we say about this one? A masterclass of acting from his three leads, along with a super interesting story. A compelling story about a young man who's living with the choices that he made from when he was a young man. I know this film stars the amazing Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore, but this film is really about Charles Melton's, who really is the character that brings this movie to life. I don't know if this is a movie for everyone, but it's a very unique drama about love and consequences. Hoping to see more of Charles Melton. This guy is one to look out for. Number 7, Saltburn, directed by Emerald Fennell. Now, I haven't seen her other movie, Promising Woman, but I'm going to check it out. But this movie here, holy hell. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like this movie. There were a good amount of flaws in it. But even with that, this is a gorgeous, fun, modern take on something like, I don't know, the talented Mr. Ripley. I honestly can fully understand why this movie is getting the hate it is and why it polarized audiences. But I mean, we've seen crazier stuff in movies, right? Despite all that, I truly don't think this film can be denied. Barry Keoghan and Rosamund Pike were absolutely incredible and deserved their flowers for their performances. This movie is about a young Oxford student who befriends a rich guy and spends the summer with him on his family's estate. That's all I'm going to say about this film. I can't lie, guys. I personally did love this movie, but watch it at your own risk. Number 6, Killers of the Flower Moon, directed by Marty Scorsese. Okay, so what honestly do I need to say? Leo and Robert doing what they do best, Lily Gladstone capturing my heart, and the great Marty Scorsese back in the movies and giving us another instant classic. I don't care what anyone says about this movie, it is absolutely incredible and a true masterclass in filmmaking. The cinematography, score, acting, direction, and of course, the crazy story are some of the best of the year without a doubt. This story is about the killing of the Osage tribe members in order to get the head rights to their lands filled with black gold. I honestly felt this 3.5 hour movie hit me right in my soul, and we get one of the best director cameos of all time at the end. To all the people who hated on this movie, I just don't understand. This was one of my favorite movies of the year. Thank you, Mr. Marty, for always going hard. I have a review for this. I will link down below as well. Number 5, Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan. Man, it was hard putting this before Killers, but this movie is something we will never get again, or at least not for a while. A 3-hour movie about building a bomb and then being in court, and it's one of the best movies ever made, possibly. I saw this along with Barbie doing this first. Oppenheimer is why I love movies. Christopher Nolan is a genius, born to do this stuff. This movie is beautiful in every way. This and Killers, in my opinion, have the best cinematography and scores of the year. Well, another movie I'd add to the score list, but we'll talk about that film later. This story is one of the more fascinating ones about World War II. Original and fresh, bold and grand, and filled with a bunch of great actors. But Cillian Murphy is my man to win the Oscar this year. He has given us a beautiful subdued performance filled with every emotion any human person has ever experienced. This movie deserves all the praise it's getting, and I think this film will be a lock for Best Director and Best Picture if there wasn't another movie I'm going to talk about later. I also want to thank Chris Nolan for doing what he is doing for cinema and helping to keep this medium we love alive. We need movies like this every single year. I also have a review for this film I can link below as well. Number 4, The Holdovers, directed by Alexander Payne. Possibly one of the best Christmas movies ever. I enjoyed this movie so much. Alexander Payne is a slick director whose movies are filled with humor and love. This is one of his finest pictures in a while. It's got a heartfelt story with some great acting. This movie is about a teacher who has to watch the holdover kids who can't be home for Christmas at this all-male boarding school. Paul Giamatti and Divine Joy Randolph are absolutely amazing and hope to see their name on Oscar nominations morning, along with Payne for director, even though I don't think they have a shot at winning. Maybe original screenplay. But anyhow, I will be watching this yearly at Christmas time, and I also have a review for this I can link below as well. Number 3, Anatomy of a Fall, directed by Justine Triet. Anatomy of a Fall is a beautiful courtroom mystery about a man who mysteriously falls from the 3rd floor of his house and dies. His wife is accused and must prove her innocence. In this layered and superbly written drama, we see the ups and downs of a marriage, how tragedy affects relationships, and things you may find relatable to your own personal life. Sandra Hüller gives us an all-star performance here, and Milo Machandro-Graner may be a French child star in the making. His performance almost put me in tears in a couple different scenes. I love this movie, and this was definitely one of my personal favorites of the year. If you love a good drama, you gotta watch this. Number 2, Past Lives, directed by Celine Song. Well, what do I say about this film? This film is an example of tremendous writing and direction. Celine Song wrote the most beautiful and heartfelt story of the year about two people who are connected but life is keeping them apart. Let's just say, in the last 5 minutes of this movie, my eyes were filled with water. I was touched deeply and moved by this lovely story that really could happen in real life to anyone. A story I bet a lot of people can resonate with. South Korea is really pushing out some of the best cinema in the last 10 years. Celine Song is letting us know that she is here to stay with this movie, and I'm excited about what she's going to give us next. Tae Yoo gave one of my favorite male performances of the year, and unfortunately, he will not be recognized for it. I do think we are getting an Oscar nom for direction, Best Picture, Best Screenplay, and Best Actress for Greta Lee. Absolutely check this movie out. It's one of the best of the year. Okay, so before we get into number 1, we got 5 honorable mentions. But before I tell you those, I just want to let you know that this list here was made without seeing these 5 films I felt I needed to tell you guys I didn't see. The Boy and the Heron, The Zone of Interest, American Fiction, Godzilla Minus One, and The Iron Claw. So I told you guys those because if seeing those films possibly could shake this list up. But here are my 5 honorable mentions of the year. No particular order. Bottoms, directed by Emma Seligman. The Killer, directed by David Fincher. Suzume, directed by Mikoto Shinkai. Now, this one is technically a 2022 movie, but the US release date was this year, 2023. Or else this film would have definitely made the top 10. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, directed by James Gunn. And Air, directed by Ben Affleck. Now, guys, let's get into our number 1 pick, Poor Things, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. Well, for us regular people who don't get to attend film festival, this was the most hyped up movie for the second half of the year by far. I was hearing how perfect this movie is, how amazing, how great Emma Stone is, how great the story is, the look, all of it. I went into this movie with hopes higher than a crackhead. And obviously, I'm in the club. So much so, I've been calling Relations furious jumping. If you've seen the film, you'll get it. There's something about this movie that I can't put my thumb on, but this movie is pure magic. The dark version of Barbie, if you want to be honest, and they pretty much came out 6 months apart. I mean, let's look at it. Emma and Margot both escaped their perceived worlds to find themselves in the real world. One is kid friendly, one is not. And oddly enough, they are number 10 and number 1 on this list. Honestly, I could gush about this movie all day long, but I just think you need to strap up and watch it. Now, I will say, this was the film I was talking about earlier when I said it had one of the best scores. Score to this movie never fit so well. And just know, Emma Stone is winning Best Actress this year. And if she doesn't, it's rigged. It's a contest. Because, my lord, that woman, she came out in this movie. I do think this film could truly come through and upset the big dogs at the Oscars. And I'm all for it. If you really are interested in my full thoughts on this movie, I will be making a full review for this soon. But do yourself a favor. Go and watch this movie ASAP. All right? Guys, thank you so much for watching my best movies of 2023. Let me know your favorite movies of 2023 down below. Also, let me know if there's a film or topic you'd like me to go over. Do me a favor, like and subscribe. It's free, baby. Help me out. I got a podcast with my buddy, The Cutting Room Floor. I'll link that below if you're interested in more movie content. Hit me on Letterboxd, Ralph Vader. I'll link that below as well. I will be back next week. And don't forget the popcorn.